difficulties, I believe.
It's got like all the like walks.
Okay, about 30 seconds, sorry. Hope everybody got to enjoy the sunshine today. It was a beautiful day. We had a nice day yesterday. It's working now, so I can officially start the meeting. Okay, I'm going to call to order Public Health and Safety. We have several items on tonight's agenda. We also have a management update. I'm going to move that first due to time and because these items here that we actually have on the agenda are actually pretty smooth through. For management update, last week when the fire chief had presented some information in regards to what he was going through at a level and wanted to bring to council's attention. And I also brought up on my own for the police chief because, I wanted council to have a understanding of what was going on as well as overall in the city. But Jake was out of town at a conference, so he really didn't have a chance to respond to anything. And along that, he also was able to find some information about a grant. And so unfortunately, that is not on the agenda tonight, but I do want to open this first part of the meeting up to Jake, our police chief, so that he is able to address any questions anybody from city council might have, and also give Jake a chance to talk about a grant that is available and what the process is in hiring in the police department. Okay, go ahead, Jake.
I like to stand and talk. I apologize. I'll come over here. Amy spoke about some stats or activity from our police department, and some of them may what I want to do is kind of clarify those. Our officers right now on the road are handling, we did a spot check a couple of months, anywhere from 8 to 12 calls per day, per officer. So that's, if you got 3 on, obviously we only have, and we do, majority of our staffing is at shift minimums, which our minimums are 3 each shift. So on days there are 3, they're probably answering closer to 12, where there's maybe 4. We have one day we actually schedule 5. We rarely work for 5, but it's probably closer to the 7 or 8. Okay. But I see, we get a lot of complaints about our cruisers parked on Parkway for an extended period of time. And the reasoning behind that is, our numbers really don't tell the story of what we're having to do right now and the stats that we're trying to do. Our detective bureau is manned by one person right now. It's a sergeant and a detective. They are probably operating 70 to 80 cases now. When I looked at this, we're at 70. And the national FBI tells you that to be effective, a detective should handle 8 to 12 cases. And that's one of the stats that she brought up. A detective should handle 8 to 12 cases to be effective. Our detective right now is handling 40 cases. And that includes sex crimes, guns. We have a shooting, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the shooting that happened after the high school game. I just went to the conference, she was telling the chief conference, BCI says a shooting, that they do it with a team. And they say they average 350 man hours per shooting. Our detective Kaylee is handling most of these by himself. And if you calculate 350 man hours for a team and put it down to one person, that shooting in Ravenna, the stadium, just outside the city, was 3 shooters. And they don't live in the city. So for him to investigate it, he has to drive to Akron, to Cleveland, and one of them has run to a different state. We got to figure out how we're going to try to get him back. We know who he is. We had a stabbing over here, 1 officer. So if we have a sex case or a drug case that comes in on Monday, it takes precedent. We have to push everything back. So with him just handling by himself, he's overwhelmed. And so
And the detail work that they have to have
Yes.
for across the street is very lengthy and, has to be precise or the whole case can be
absolutely.
thrown out.
And part of that man hours is almost sometimes 3 to 5 days, 8 hours a day spent with the prosecutor preparing for trial. If you're 8 hours a day you're not putting any more cases, and all the other stuff is getting pushed back again. So when you see cruisers parked out in front of our station, we are having to push some of these cases down to the road patrol, and they are not equipped to handle a sex case, a rape, drug cases like we're handling now. They're not equipped to it, so they're doing the best they can. They can't drive to Akron in a police cruiser, trying to do an interrogation or an interview. It just can't happen. So that gets pushed back until Dwayne's available. So it's just, so we're pushing, and if our guys are investigating cases and trying to do follow-up, they're not out being proactive. And honestly, that's why you see the drug hit where it's downtown. We know it's happening. And we can do certain things to curb that. We just don't have the man hours right now. I think you said the one night we went out there, we went to a fight call. All 4 officers arrived. Within 3 minutes, there was another fight call, and we're down the other thing. And then within 4 minutes of that call, it was a domestic. We're tied the rest of the night. We had 4 guys. Fight call, arrest, fight call, arrest. One guy ran from us, had a boot on, didn't get very far. But we're tied up with that guy now. Because we have a policy that's minimum 2 officers to process somebody for safety reasons. So if we have 3 guys on the road, we have a domestic, those 3 guys are gonna be tied up for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Because you got the one officer who's going to be talking to the victim, getting statements, handing out all the Marcy's law, which is, a lot of work. And the other 2 guys are processing a prisoner. Hour and a half, 2 hours per domestic. That's not even right in the report yet. So I understand that you see a lot of cars parked up front. It happens. We kind of deal with that. But a department our size, the FBI recommends 3 to 4 detectives to help us investigate cases. And right now, like I said, we're doing it with 1. So pushing that back down to the road is taking our road patrol off. Amy has talked about foot patrols downtown. We would love to do more foot patrols, but if we've got 3 guys on and a fight call comes from City Park, I can't have 1 guy 3 blocks away from our cruisers, because that puts everybody else at risk. So the OACP, which is the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, they have a rudimentary, very basic way of staffing the police department. They have another way, but it's a convoluted mess. I couldn't even read it. It read like stereo equipment. It was peak hours, non-peak hours, trying to run all these reports. I couldn't figure it out. But their basic one is 2.5 officers per 1,000 residents. We're at about 11.5, puts us at 28 officers. We're currently at 22. So we're just, our numbers haven't skyrocketed as bad as everybody thinks they are. They're kind of the same, but that's because we can't be proactive. We can't go out and do the things we want to do and that we're designed to do and to help this community. We just can't do it. There's not enough time in the day. So I was talking to Amy and I was talking to the mayor, and we were, if we got 3 more guys, we could put another person in the detective bureau. We are currently staffed at 5 officers per shift. If I got 3 more, 1 would go into detective bureau, 2 more would go into on the road, and we could staff it with 6, because we are currently 1 officer down from our peak, and we are training another one. And to expedite it, it's everybody who goes to the academy now, there are probably like 30 kids, cadets that go through the academy. About 70 to 75% of those are sponsored by a department before they go in. If you figure 10 to 15 don't pass it, the hardest part is the physical. 10 to 15 don't pass it. That means there's the rest of the departments in this county and in this state fighting for about 3 people. We got lucky. We sponsored 1 from last time, working out fantastic. We got another one off that. He's working out. He's the one we're training now. But these kids are young. They're 21 years old, 22 years old. It takes longer to train them. If we would miss the January academy, I did meet the Kent State, the guy who runs the academy, is the president of the academies. He's got 5 or 6 signed up for the January academy. If we would miss that academy and not sponsor a cadet, we would have to wait till the fall. If we sponsored 1 in January or 2 in January, they would not be on the road till the end of 2026. If we miss that, we're looking middle to late of 2027, 2028, till anybody got back on the road. Just, the recruitment process is difficult. Nobody wants to be a cop. And that's why the pendulum has swung back to sponsoring kids to go through the academy. Like I said, we did it for one. It was great. Worked out.
And it was a grant, correct? Or it was like the sponsor, what was it? Was there something?
There is a grant. The school has money for a grant. They have asked me for another SRO. They have money to pay for it. I don't have the body to put up there. I can't pull, when we're scheduled 5 on a road per shift and 1 detective, I can't pull off the road. When the road gets short, we pull from the detective bureau because the road comes first. You know, all that has to be first. We have to be proactive. We have to be out there.
And this also would put them at, if they get this, would put them at 12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts.
Right now, the police department, they are working only 8-hour shifts.
We're working 8 and like 5 per shift. And if you, I mean, you can, I've talked to us trying to get a schedule. I'm trying to figure out how often we work with minimums, but unfortunately our schedule software doesn't support that this year. They'll have it next year, end or late of next year. So with 5 guys working a shift, regular days off, the majority of the time we're scheduled with 3 or 4 people. We do have one day with 5, but then people take days off. We can't stop it.
And you're still answering all the
We're
calls.
still answering all the calls.
Nobody is unsafe.
Nope.
I commend that with our safety forces
Yes.
because I think what they're doing is phenomenal. And it's at a point where, you know, we need to look at options and hear from them because we haven't heard from them in quite some time. And I think that we need to look at all the options. And I felt since Jake wasn't here last week, didn't get the opportunity, I felt it was important to address council.
So I did. I think it was important to come and answer any of your questions. And like I said, the school's asked for another guy. Within the first month of school starting, our SRO pulled 30 reports on him by himself. He needs help. And just those 3 guys does not put a guy in the school. He needs help. 30 reports in less than a month for a school. They were asking for help last year. They're asking for it again. They have money for it again now, but we just don't have the bodies to give to them.
Anybody have any questions for Jake?
Chief, did you say in the past we had more than 1 detective?
We have, yes.
And when did that stop? And was that the maximum staffing when we were at 2, or did we have 3 before that at some time?
Since I've been there, we've had 2 to include, and that does not include the sergeant. The sergeant is up there. But his main job is not to answer. He does a little bit of calls. Right now, he's handling 3540 himself. But it's to maintain the evidence. And if you've ever seen our evidence room, pretty much everything we have to take, we have to, we have to keep. And all we do is just keep building on rooms. I mean, I can ask Bob, I told him in our designs for our new station, we need more room for our evidence.
And when was it that we had 2 detectives? How long ago was
We
that?
had 2 was Jason Burrell. I don't know, he retired. He's been retired for about a year now, maybe a year and a half. When he came out of the task force, he went into the detective bureau.
Then another question is, you've hired out of the academy.
Yes, sir.
On the last couple of hires, have we not hired somebody from another police department into our departments?
We did, and we would like, we have some lateral transfers. We took a guy from Newton Falls when they closed down. He has worked out well for us. We took a lateral transfer from Louisville, Ellie Smith. She has been fantastic. We're great, and we talked to her.
And she's another female to the department, which is
Yeah,
great.
She does a
good
great job
officer.
for us too. So
Okay.
lateral transfers are great, but it's hard to get them to come here because they want to work 12s.
Yeah, the 12-hour shifts are huge.
We've talked to a couple people from different parts who have left and gone somewhere else and said, we want to work 12. Everybody, the industry is switching to 12-hour shifts, and we're behind on the switch. We just don't have the manpower to do it.
Any other questions from
Yeah.
council?
Go ahead, Paul. How many more, I should say, officers, detectives would it take that you believe to have 12-hour shifts comfortably, not just bare minimum, but comfortably?
3 is what he
The
said.
3 officers will put 1 in the detective bureau, which Dr. Calfee was talking about, would be increase us from 2. We're at 1 now. We're going to put 1 more in when I think Dirk finishes his training, because now the road is getting back to where they were. We'll put 1 more in to help. So we'll have 2 up there. But really, if you take 70 cases by one, divided by 3, you're still at 20, and we're at 25. We're still above where we should be. So just getting 3 is going to get us closer.
But it's not there.
It's not there. And I don't expect to be there. They need help. I don't expect to get them to where they're just doing 8 to 10. That's an probably unrealistic goal. But if I put 1 more in there and put 2 more on the road, we can go to 12s and comfortably work our detective bureau. It doesn't help the SRO, which he needs help, but it helps our department and answer calls, investigate cases. And what we're having now is our background checks are very thorough. We've made some mistakes in the past, and we won't lower our standards again. We're still fighting some of those bad mistakes. So I don't think, and the two guys that we trust to do our backgrounds just happen to be our SRO and our detective. So we can't even do backgrounds on people because those 2 are too busy. It's hard to do a background when a shooting comes in on the weekend.
Question for you. So hypothetically, if we posted an opening, how long would it take to collect candidates and for just a sense of timeline? And then even if we accepted a candidate, assuming that it's not a lateral transfer that would be easier to move through the process, how long is that duration? You were talking about how there's like a spring and a fall class for the academy. So is it like a 12 to 18 month possible turnaround between like a brand new person moving into the industry of policing to actually being an officer?
12 to 18 months is a good number. We have an opening right now, and we can't fill it.
Okay.
So we're going to have to try to approach this academy and try to find somebody to do a background, somebody who is qualified to do a background. That's very hard to do. They have to be thorough.
Okay, and for folks that we send to the academy, so if we're bringing people into the industry, trying to get them in, what is the success rate that we have? For how many we send in versus how many make it through?
Before Caden, the last person we sponsored to do the academy was Chief Wallace.
Yep, Jeff.
And the person before him was me. So I think we've got a pretty good hit rate on our academies.
Appreciate that. Also wondering for some of them, I'm guessing that there is a little bit of a backlog building given how much demand there is versus the labor we have to get it done. For some of that backlog, is there any chance that we could hire someone in a clerical type role to assist in those capacities? Or does that job function require the credentials of an officer?
You're talking about doing detective work?
Just to support those kind of efforts.
Yeah, it would
Kind of
have
like
to be.
paralegal versus a lawyer. Is
It
there
would
any
have to be an
opportunity?
officer.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with ICAC, International Coalition of Abused Children. We get hits from that, and what it is Google, whatever browser you're using, if a child porn is downloaded or uploaded, it hits on that, it goes to ICAC, and ICAC sends it to the department. We currently have 6 of those cases, and we triage, which means we have one close to the school, and we're going to investigate that one first.
Yep.
But that's, again, one officer trying to work through that ICAC case.
Yeah, people don't realize once you hit on Google or any of that, they're going to find you. It may not be today or tomorrow,
No,
but if
they
you
don't
download child pornography, you are going to get caught.
If it's uploaded, it's a little serious because now you're disseminating. I mean, download's still serious, but like I said, we have one detective who's doing that along with our shootings, which we are currently investigating 6. And each shooting has multiple suspects.
Yeah, it's not just one shooting with one person. There's 10 to 12
Yeah.
people.
And our detectives are thorough. We don't lose cases in our detective bureau. It is recognized amongst the county how good our detective bureau is.
Chief, on some of the monthly reports the last few months, it appears that overtime has been at about 25,000 in a month. I think that's about the amount that we've been spending the last few months. Where's our overtime going to?
Right now, I haven't looked at the last month. Tammy could probably look at it a little quicker. The last I knew, not counting this month, we were about $167,000.
Yeah, that's what I have written down.
And, that will probably go down, but it's not a money-making thing. If you probably cut it in half, hiring 3 or 4 guys, but you're still gonna increase your,
So
It's
the-
a service.
The current overtime is going to fill the shifts to the minimum of 3?
yes.
Or that's where the majority of it's going, or are there other places that it's,
There's other places, there's training, we have
Okay.
professional training, continuing professional training we have to do. But we do get reimbursed for that overtime.
okay. So you believe that most of it is going to fill staffing?
Yes.
That's below your
Yes.
standard? Okay.
Jonathan was here, I can have him log me into my computer, I've been locked out all day.
Well, then, don't turn around too fast.
Yeah, don't ask, you shall receive, but it's okay. You don't have to,
He
you don't
said he'd
have
get
to
me
do that
the
now.
day. I
It's
was trying
okay.
to run reports.
It's
I've been out
okay.
for a week and a half, and I couldn't get in there today. But yes, the majority of overtime is covering shifts.
Any other questions for him?
I'll just make a quick comment. I'll just say the different times I've gone on ride-alongs, to me, I'll just say eye-opening, but I've learned a lot. I mean, it's minimal compared to what an officer knows, but I have a better understanding for what you're saying, because I've seen sometimes they're on one call, and then I found out, all right, we have to hurry up and leave this and go to another one, because this other one is much more demanding or critical. Well, to me, I'm glad and very thankful that the opportunities are there to do that. And I will emphasize, okay, I'm not a big third shift person to stay awake at 3 in the morning.
A lot goes
but
happen.
the reason I'm saying that, there have been 2 or 3 times I have gone into third shift just to see the differences in what goes on the different shifts. And, you know, some people might think, oh, nothing happens, and well, that's,
Paul, nothing good happens after midnight.
yeah, I've seen some things that,
Coach Trusser used to say nothing good happens after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
so I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you. And I do want to say, I've chaired public health and safety for about 10 years, and I know I can speak for the mayor and the administration, because the mayor's always been very supportive of this, but we do remain committed to transparency, fiscal responsibility, and the safety of our first responders in our community always. So again, I definitely want to put that out there, that our community knows that we do take safety seriously, and it's always been a priority. So, thank you, Jake.
Good comment about Ellie, I'm sorry. She switched from Louisville, and I met her chief. She wasn't a chief when Ellie worked there. She's a chief now. I met her at the conference. She said she left Louisville because she was bored. She is no longer bored. She runs from call to call to call, but these young guys like that. So she's no longer bored. Any further questions?
How would the new safety building help your department process?
It would probably be safer. We would have a Sally port. We have had guys run from us, getting from the car to the building. We've had people fall and jump out the back door. So it would help, yes. Mhm. It would help us with the toilets because they wouldn't rock when we sat on them.
And then the detection cameras that were installed on the perimeters of the city?
These flock cameras, other cities want those, and they're using our data to get them. I have a list. I don't think I brought it with me, but we're probably up where it helped us solve between 30 and 50 cases.
It's amazing what that can do, is what I want to say.
was
I
shooting
got to
downtown
see,
cameras.
and when people you don't realize the amount of work they can do from inside as well, that they're still working. You know, they may be short-staffed too, but there is work going on inside, and that's all I'll say.
Yes. I can,
I'd like to see another one, actually, at another location. I think that if we could get another one, it would be very beneficial. And I think that I was just blown away by them when I actually got to
could use
watch.
2 more downtown live cameras.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
But we use those now. We use them at lunch. We watch them at lunch. And we watch the hand-to-hands, and we'll send cars down.
yeah, they're on top of it. I was really impressed. So, thank you, Jake.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And just the items I have right now, we'll start with the FEMA, the $33,809.52 grant award from FEMA with a 5% match. That, let me see here, hold on. That is with, who is that with?
FEMA.
Yes, that's one you talked about last week, right? Okay. Go, do you want to explain that?
Basically an equipment grant that we applied for.
And you received it, right?
Correct, back in January. And they usually take about 7-8 months to get back. And we received the $33,809 towards turnout gear is what we allocated the money for.
You've been pretty successful in the past getting this too, correct?
I've received 2 FEMA grants in the 5 years that I've been in the chief's position. Some chiefs go a lifetime in their career and don't ever receive one. So
That's what I mean,
think
you've
I've been
done,
pretty blessed.
yeah, congratulations, thank
I
you.
write my own grants.
You do, I know, you do a great job. Thank you. Okay, how are we with going forward with this?
Yeah.
Everyone okay? Take the money and run and give the 5% down. All right, we'll go ahead and move this forward. Next item, we have an ordinance for the dispatch services. Chief?
Yes, we only have one signed contract out. I went to Deerfield last night. We spoke to their trustees. They have all of our fire contracts, for some reason, have another dispatch center who is undercut us a lot. We are required by 911 state law to disclose how much we make on all of our fire departments, and somewhere or another, we now have another dispatch center who has undercut us price-wise. So
We know who that is.
trying to keep them, and we're making a big, hard push to keep them. So I only have one contract currently signed, which is Ritztown. Wow. Deerfield did not make a decision last night. They're gonna push it till next month to make a decision there. Palmyra, I don't think they voted last night, and I think Edinburgh is still out.
What about Charleston?
Charleston, we do not have a signed contract yet.
Well, I would hope that they would consider, since we have really went out to bat to help them.
I would hope so.
I would hope so, because I think we've done over and above helping them with squad calls.
Yes.
So, all right, thank you.
Were we not dispatching for 10 or 12 places?
We were dispatching for 9. We have picked up, we lost, since there was 9, we lost
Ravenna Towns.
Randolph. We lost Wyndham in this contract.
Wow.
Really?
They went to the lower bidder. We did pick up a police department, Marlboro Fire, Marlboro Police. So I believe we are back to 8 or 9 fire departments and 2 police departments, including ourselves.
Wow.
Will this have an effect on our staffing of the dispatch center?
No.
Okay.
How is dispatch's capacity at this point, based on call volumes and staffing available?
We could take on, depending on the size of another department, before we had to be concerned about adding staffing.
And dispatch was never created really to be a huge moneymaker. When it was started, it was to offset our cost, and us being able to have control of our dispatch is priceless.
Yes.
So, and we know the quality that is behind our dispatch compared to others. So, again, keeping it in-house is very important. So this was a very creative way of us being able to maintain what we have and offer other services, so,
Yes.
okay? All right. All right, so this is to accept the ordinance for, or Deerfield.
Do we want to wait until they all sign, or wait?
No, I think we should accept when they, I mean, I would think we should accept them
As they come in.
as they come in, because once they're in contract, they're with us. So instead of waiting, I think it's better to be proactive.
Yes.
Is everybody in this committee okay with this?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, last but not least, authorization of the purchase of the 2025 Chevrolet Tahoe, and this was in the budget. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, turn this over to Chief.
Thank you. This is going to be a fantastic vehicle for us. Nobody around us is going to have it. It's a Tahoe, but it's going to be a quick response drone vehicle. I don't know if you guys are aware, but we are the premier drone department, probably in the county. We have drones now that guys can carry on their hip, launch from their hand, and control it with one controller, and use goggles to co-witness what's in front of them and what's their drone seeing. And we have 4 drone operators, 3 of which carry the drone on duty all the time. And we fly everywhere. Departments call us to get our drone, and this is gonna help them, because what's gonna happen is we are burning through batteries on his car along with Miles. This is his new car. This one's gonna have an extra battery to charge all of his drones. It's gonna have a large table that comes out, and it's gonna fold up, and it's gonna have a big TV in it, so everyone, all the chiefs can be behind him. So when he's on a call and it's a barricaded subject of whatever you wanna look at, the drone image, well, they can watch it on that TV, along with a whiteboard, so we can we had to do a search pattern. We found elderly people who've walked away. Street Patrol just had a guy walking in front of his school, and with that whiteboard, you can draw out a map, circle where, have like a search grids. So it's really gonna help us. Like I said, it was in the budget already. We just need permission to use it.
Does our current drone technology also have like thermal imaging?
Yes,
There's
it
a lot
does.
of
The
okay,
flare, yeah, all 3 drones have the flares. We have outside drones with flares and drones that are designed to go inside. Because if you get a bigger drone inside, the air comes off the walls and you can't control it and move it around. These smaller ones are designed for that, and they zip right through. I don't think they'll be rating them 3D zone races yet, but they're pretty good with them.
Yeah,
It's pretty neat to see.
it's,
Okay, so are we okay, Matt and Tyler, to move this forward?
yes.
Okay. Also, last item, Chief Chappell said that there should be something on here in regards to the squad. That's right, the selling of the squad to Wyndham. Correct. So the old squad that, is going to be old, that we were replacing, we do have somebody who wants to purchase it. Do you want me to disclose the amount, or do you want to disclose it?
Yeah, it's 30,000.
It's $30,000. So he just needs permission to be able to sell that to Wyndham, to another city. I think it's an easy way to get rid of it versus doing the trade-in that we talked
The
about.
trade-in they told us it'd be roughly the same. But what we were looking at as a municipality that is in Portage County, that is in
Right.
need of a squad.
Yes.
And I don't know if it would be an easier transaction because I don't know what legally we have to do to sell it to them. But I do know that they came and looked at it and they made a verbal commitment to us to buy it for 30,000.
So I think, it's staying in locally, we're helping another area, and it might just be as easy to do that than to do a trade. And we're not at any liability with this, like it's being sold as is. Okay. Tammy, is there anything that we need to add to this?
We do need to have an ordinance, since it's a city property, to give permission to sell it.
Matt and Tyler? Are you
Yeah,
okay with
I'm
that?
happy to support a local community. We end up using a lot of mutual aid for all surrounding communities, so let's just keep the resources close if we can,
Okay,
collectively.
all right. Sorry, Chelsea, this wasn't on for a tracking sheet. I apologize. It just kind of happened, so. All right, we're going to go ahead and move this forward to sell it to Wyndham for $30,000. Any updates? Mark, do you have any updates?
None that I haven't shared.
Okay. Any management updates?
Just to point out that since the question was asked, both the police department and the fire department were allowed to hire someone to, I don't like to say the word secretary, it's more than that, they're catch-all, but it was additional help to each of them. So and they've been here with us for a while. Jake, also, a couple of our people got some special recognition
Oh, yes, sir.
from the prosecutor's office.
The prosecutor recognized our detective bureau as top cops, and they got an award where they sentenced or got 17 years for somebody who sold fentanyl, and the end user overdosed and died, and they got sentenced, and those are very difficult to investigate and to convict. And the seller got 17 and a half to 22 and a half years. So they were recognized by our prosecutor's office for a job well done.
Good. Thank you.
Impressive for a very busy team.
Okay. I didn't know who. All right, at 6:40, I will call the Public Health and Safety meeting to an end. And welcome our council president. He's here in style, so.
Just came from the eye doctor.
Pick up with Information Services here. It is 6:40. We'll go ahead and start with the Information Services Committee. We have a couple items on our agenda today. And we do have our director, Jonathan Bender, here to help speak to some of these. So first one is the city website and the compatible phone app. We had a subcommittee meet on this one, and we're looking to kind of consolidate some services and kind of bringing things together and for the different offerings that it's have. The website that we have been paying for, there's hourly rates for making changes for it, and the new platform that we're looking to move to will enable the department heads to make the changes themselves more responsively instead of putting out an email and waiting weeks for a response to know if even the change is even made to the website. It's a pretty good platform. Our director has reviewed this stuff with us as well, and we're looking to move that one forward. So are there any questions on the website and application thing? I know we've talked a little bit about this before.
The contract for the website was attached, and there was, we had the ability to review it some. It seems like it's quite an in-depth website with a number of features. I guess a couple questions that I have are, of all these features that they have, and there's numerous ones, do we get all of those features for this price, even though we may not implement all of them right away?
For the website, yes, that's included. The other platform for the mobile app, there are some additional things that we can add in as line items, and we can discuss that later when we get to that point. But for the website one from Akron, it's pretty comprehensive. Oh,
That's fine. You get, yes, we get everything that I listed in the email that was sent out, and what I think Chelsea gave to you. There are add-ons later on if you want to. So for example, I didn't want to start with like AI searching on the website because we shouldn't need that. And it was an additional, I think it was additional like $4,000 per year. So I don't think that that's important. There are several ways that we can design the website to make it much easier to navigate to where we shouldn't need an AI chatbot. As well as, like, if you look at the Akron's website, when you go to their website, the first thing you see is that bar over top of their video, which, I don't think is a great design choice personally. But there's an entire FAQ section that we can build that will address, that is searchable, that will address that kind of search functionality or need.
On their website, you're able to go in and look at several examples of their websites that they've developed for cities all around the country. I think they said they've done 12,000 different ones. With any website, getting the content into the website and keeping it up to date is a big issue. And now we're going to have the issue of a much more complex website with lots more information on it, are we going to be able to keep all of their content up and in with it without having somebody that's really in charge of doing that? Just a question.
If Jake was here, I'd say yes, but no. So I don't know if it's accurate to say that it's a more complex website. So if you had the time, which you may have not, which is fine, on their demo, on their website, they have all of their demos listed out. The website demo, they've set it up to be as user accessible as possible on the back end. So it's as simple as here's your main page, here's your sub pages, and then you just hit a drop down box. You can rearrange them, you can remove them, you can add them. And then when you do add a web page, it's basically, they've set it up to look like Word, like you're using Microsoft Word. So it says header, you put in a header, you can add another header, you can add a subheader, all those things you could do in Word. And then you can publish it. You can even look at a preview of what it will look like before you publish it out there.
So instead of relying on someone else to upload and change that information for us, we will more easily be able to internally update that information.
Correct. And then I guess to update you as well, I did get the update for 10 users. I asked him for 10 users roughly. I thought we would have 8 to 10 people if we include all department heads or their assistants, whoever needs to access it. It'll be $65.50 per year instead of $61.50 per year to have 10 people able to access it. Myself, I will be I guess we'll call it a super admin. I forget what their terminology is, where I'll be able to see and edit and do everything. We can add another super admin as a check, obviously, and then all the other ones we can limit specifically to their section of the website, so that way they can't affect each other in that way.
It looked like in their proposed contract that they had pretty extensive training for the 10 users that are going to be putting content in. That training is going to take place up front at the beginning of the implementation of this site?
No, well, before we go live, it will, yes. I believe there's an implementation schedule in the contract where we'll have initial meetings to discuss, how we want the design. They're going to give us five templates basically to use because we don't need like a crazy custom designed website. We just need one that works and that people can use.
Yeah, and one of the main principles behind it's each of the 8 to 10 users that'll be able to edit it. I wanted to characterize what their experience will be like. It's the difference between building an entire kitchen set from IKEA versus just having furniture delivered to your house. We're using the latter, the former, like we used WordPress. You can go really deep into the weeds to do a whole bunch of different stuff, and you can do complex things that might break the website. But this is kind of a lot more of a controlled thing, and it's easier to use, plug and play, drag and drop kind of stuff. So less complexity for the users.
Yeah, like Julie for City Hall. She had to learn how to code a little bit actually to be able to update the current website. And any time that we wanted to remove something from the website, so for example, Jake, the state stopped funding the drug buyback program, I think is what it was, those mailbox looking things. So we wanted to take that off the website. Well, we couldn't do that. We had to have one of them do it and charge. It's at $135 an hour or something, and they charge us 15 minutes minimum just to take it off the website. So it'll be small things like that that'll be fixed.
And it reduces the bottleneck of having only one person that could do it or having to wait for a vendor. Self-service should make timeliness a lot faster.
Yeah, and actually I found out, Chris called me and they have an entire separate WordPress site, I guess, that Judy made for Parks and Rec that we'll be able to get rid of too.
Is that the one that was through RecDesk?
Yeah,
for that
it must
hosting
be.
thing for.
Yeah, they have their own thing, so we'll be able to get rid of that and integrate it so that everybody's together. And then I guess additionally to speak to the app, so the phone app is not from the same company, but they will work in tandem, so I guess is what I should say. So the other one is GoGov, and they're going to be introducing the couple of features. So first off, there'll be a phone app that the public will be able to download. to their phone. It'll be branded for us, so we'll get to choose the image and the name of it, and then it'll look very similar to the other people that they serve, but we'll be able to choose color scheme, how many buttons there are, etc. But there'll be two key features in that. So we're going to have the push notifications through that. We're going to move away from the Civic Notify that we had before. But we're also going to add the feature, most people call it 311, if you're familiar with that. So they'll be able to be public requests. So through the phone app, you'll be able to press the request button. You'll be able to take a picture, and then you can just drop your, if you're right in front of it, you can drop your precise location. And you can, put an email in there if you want. I don't believe you have to specifically register. We can require people to register if we want them to, so that way we don't get a million anonymous notifications of something. And then what'll happen is that they'll choose a category, they'll choose like a level of emergency, is this, dire, is it whatever, and then it'll be routed to the appropriate department. And then that department will get a ticket. And on the back end, there'll be a website for us to log into to be able to see all those requests. You guys can actually have limited access to it as well, where you can actually generate reports. So I know you guys love your reports. You'll be able to generate a report based on location, your district, even if you're, ward, I apologize, your ward, if you would like. And then if there are multiple instances where people are reporting the same thing, it will tell them that it's already been reported. We can also show public and not public events. So let's say we're shutting down streets for biker night. I apologize. What is that?
Octane Nights.
Octane, thank you. Octane Nights. We're shutting down streets. We can actually put into the app, hey, X, Y, and Z streets will be shut down for Octane Nights. Or if we have a water main break, we can put those on the phone, and everybody will be able to see them. We can turn those public. Additionally, the way that the website and the app will interact is that the app can have as many buttons or links to what we want it to, and it'll link directly to the section on our website.
So we could put like a link to pay my water bill
Yep.
on there? Okay.
Yep. We can.
Or to check the calendar for leaf pickup.
Correct. Yep. And we will have, there's a calendar function on the new website as well, that we can actually have multiple calendars on there, and color code them. So we can have a city hall calendar, council calendar, all of that. Additionally, there is a agenda and meeting section built into the website as well, where you can see upcoming ones. We have direct links to the YouTube videos as soon as they're linked. It'll have a downloadable for the packet. It'll have a downloadable for the agenda. Yep.
Yeah, so council asked that this subcommittee be put together. Now, one of the primary purposes was to enhance or make more efficient our process for creating
Legislation.
ordinances and resolutions. And we're spending a lot more time talking about, communication and web design and functionality, which I think is going to enhance not only, what we do, but what our residents can do in terms of reporting things and receiving information. We'll, as a second phase, once we start getting deeper into this, assuming council passes this package, look at the agenda building components of it and see how we can fit it into our workflow for ordinances and resolutions to make that process a little more defined. But Jonathan, and by the way, Jonathan, you have links to the revise webinars, and
Yes.
if you really want to take a deep look into the functionality and how these things work now, maybe you could post those to council.
It's included in the email.
Oh, you did include
I
it.
know it's a big email. I
Okay,
apologize.
that's
I'm-
fine. I
I'm-
wasn't sure.
I'm IT,
And I-
so it's just all detailed.
I did look at the revised, I didn't go through the entire webinar, and it's pretty impressive what it can do. And I think it's fairly intuitive and easy for people to adapt to. But thanks to Jonathan, he's done a lot of work putting all this information together. And I think he's done a really, really good job.
Thanks.
All right, it's the pleasure of our committee here.
I'm okay with moving this forward.
Paul?
Yes, it's something that's needed. I just have one comment. This is, I'll just say for a small percentage of residents, I know of, it's very few, that don't use the internet for anything. And is there a way to actually keep them informed?
I do believe, I'll have to double check. I do believe there's still a text messaging component. But I don't know if it requires the app to be downloaded or not.
Okay.
I apologize, I'm a little out of sorts. I've been in court all day.
Okay, thank you.
Not for anything bad. Jury duty.
Jury duty.
What was the bail?
I actually got selected, so I had to be, that's why I'm late. They ran till 5:30, so.
Yeah, and I think that there can be some additional discussions regarding residents that don't leverage that technology at all. They are still residents, and we need to communicate with them effectively. So there may be some paper options or mailing postcards and stuff like
Okay.
that too.
Yeah, and they're for example, I guess the website also now would include the alert ability. So I guess, they could get alerts via email that things have changed. If they're not using email, it's still a little hard, but I mean, most people at this point have an email. But they will be able to be alerted like, hey, they can sign up for alerts for if, the Parks and Rec website changes for registration or things like that.
I hope there is a component to text messaging, because I think that is much quicker.
Yes.
Even, with an app a lot of times goes bing, 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 and sometimes some of the bing bings are really stupid. You get alerts for apps and you're like, oh, really? This is what it's for, when you get an alert on an app. So I think the text message still is a powerful way to get a hold of people and notify people. So I'm really hoping that is a component, because I do think that's important.
But we are also setting up what exact notifications are going out. So, we're making that decision, not we as council, but, as to what's important to go out and what's
But I
not, so.
still think, though, text messaging, that goes much quicker.
Yeah.
It does. I like that better.
And there may be some residents that are more familiar with text messaging than
Sure.
downloading an
And
app
there's some
and
that
all
don't
of that
have
too.
smartphones.
Yes.
A lot of
That's real.
people that are, they might, not have, like, financially set and have phones that only offer
Like-
being use of text
Right.
messages.
Yeah,
Right.
flip
There's a
phones.
large population and a population of senior citizens that do not have smartphones.
Yeah, the citizen notifications is what they call it, does have the branded mobile app, send targeted content, and multi-channel communication. So reach your citizens through mobile app, texting, voice, social media, and more. So yes, that's what I thought.
Is there separate things for text messages regarding cost for that, or is that kind of just bundled in as a stock thing?
I
'Cause it-
read through it I didn't see any like message charges included in there.
Because I know
But
some
I
other
assume it's-
platforms have that, either.
Yeah, I
like
assume there's a
stock
disclaimer
rated.
of all text and data messages, rates apply, whatever. But
Okay,
at this point, most carriers offer free text and stuff.
okay,
I don't know of any that don't.
agreed. The next item we have here is the WebEx Cloud phone system. The older system we have, we've historically paid, I think, what was it, $120,000 for the time period we're comparing for, and this would be a functional decrease in cost of nearly half, if I'm read that correctly.
Well,
Give or take, over time, though,
over
like for the
time,
functional
it's not a
average.
reduction. It's a small reduction, but it's, what should I say? The overhead, I guess what I would say is that it'll be the same, roughly the same. It'll be probably about $4,000 or $5,000 cheaper over the same period of time that we've had the current phone system, but we'll be in a much better place in 5 years. And we'll also avoid a ton of price increases and hardware overhead by going to the cloud. So the problems we're running into now is that there's not really many people that support the phone system that we have. As I've said before, we had a component die. It's been 4 months now almost. And it's not really something that's made very much. We would have had to wait 4 days, and dispatch would not have been able to have admin lines for 4 days. And luckily, Nick and Kent, who built this system, had a spare that he could give us. And he was gracious enough to come basically fix it. And he's actually even going to this system as well. He told me that he trusts these engineers to do the deployment for him, and he doesn't trust anyone to do anything. So I consider that personally high praise. But if you look at the packet, I could bring it up on the presentation if you want. But it'll basically be $64,000 upfront for deployment, configuration, and day one support for a week, back-end configurations, et cetera. And then it'll be 9,700, I think roughly, recurring every year afterwards for licensing. The advantages we're going to get with this, though, are that water treatment will be able to get a new doorbell with a video camera on it. And that'll actually hook into a video phone that they're also going to purchase that will go into their kitchen, so that at nighttime or after hours, when someone rings that bell, there'll actually be a video there, or it still rings all the phones in the plant. Bill at Wastewater had also expressed wanting to do that because he does have somebody who is there by herself. I don't remember what time she's there by herself. I think it's like early morning, like very early morning she's there by herself. So they wanted to start locking the gate. And right now they just have that code punch in. So they were expressing interest in having one of these video phones set up for there as well. So Melissa will have that video phone there at the front gate as well. Because right now you can just drive right in.
Yes.
Nobody really locks that gate. So it's not it also gives us those safety features. The police will also be able to finally call from cell phones. So I don't know if Jake had talked to you guys about deploying cell phones with officers. He's looking to start deploying shift phones for officers. So there'll be, I believe, 6 of them, and they'll all have the ability to basically take a photo. So like, let's say they're on scene, whatnot, they'll be able to take a photo with the camera, and they'll be able to send that evidence directly to their system, to their cars, instead of having to use a personal phone or send it through email and then add it in later on. So in conjunction with that, they'll be able to sign in to their WebEx platform, formerly Jabber, if everybody's familiar. They'll be able to sign into that platform. They'll be able to get their voicemails through there. They'll be able to call from a city line through there, and it can be recorded as well. So I have the quote. From Eventide for that integration, and it does directly integrate with Eventide. And again, this is the same system that Kent is going to be using. I know Jake likes to be, Mr. Forefront. We have all the drones and everything, but in the IT world, we can't all be so cool. But there, additionally, we'll have enhanced features that we don't have now. We'll have no hardware overhead. We won't have servers that we have to maintain and update. We aren't restricted in our licensing. So the secondary problem we had, I did research into, versus upgrading to what they have now, which is CUCM version 15. We'd have to purchase a whole new licensing package. We would have to basically buy new servers. We'd have to buy into ESX, which has a monthly recurring cost based on how strong your server is. It's a mess. And then we'd have to find somebody that can implement and build and do all that. So this takes a lot of that out. And then we'll also have redundancy now built in. So not only if we lose the internet, we will still have internal calls like we do now, but we basically won't lose the internet anymore. I know we talked about Lightspeed in February, and I know we've all been holding our breath on getting that there. First Energy has kind of stonewalled us a bit at the water treatment and wastewater plant, but it looks like we're finally moving forward there. He's going to just bury those lines. He's looking into just burying those lines for us. I had the fiber contractors come last week to do site surveys. So we're prepping for that. And then the good news on that front is that he emailed me and told me next year they have like $100 million, I think he said, and they have 13 shovel-ready projects for Q2. So they're going to be building 13 node sites. One of them will be, I believe, just outside of town. So we will have redundancy east and west, Kent, and then whatever's outside of town, and then also Streetsboro. So in theory, I cannot guarantee it's the IT world. Nothing's 100%. But in theory, there should be no outages. So we don't have to incur extra costs by getting an east, like an east-west, north-south
Yeah.
redundancy line.
Any questions on the phone system upgrade? All right, we good to move this forward? All right. That'll take us to the next one, for the renewal of Civica license and support for the Finance Department. I'd like to continue on this one.
Yes, this typically has not needed to come to council, but this year they billed it as one full packet. It's $29,000 to renew. So in order to sign the contract, I wanted to bring it to council so you can see. This includes all of our modules that we use for finance, payroll, budgeting. It also includes utility and easy pay, which are used at water billing. Another component which we implemented a couple years ago is requisition routing for our POs, and now all of those are billed on one invoice. This is a 4% increase overall on all the components this year. But again, I just need an ordinance to approve the contract to sign, so we can keep going.
Ms. Lawrence, I'm not familiar, is this software that we're purchasing
This is
that
our
runs this?
software.
This
our
is software that we're
Software
purchasing?
licenses, yes.
Okay,
Yep,
I wasn't sure what it was, okay.
and all the support.
I'm okay with it.
Yes.
All righty.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Appreciate your time. All righty, do we have a management update?
No.
And Jonathan kind of included a little bit of that at the end there with the fiber update too. Appreciate it. All righty, it is 7:02. We'll adjourn the Information Systems Committee.
All right, 7:03, call Streets and Sidewalks Committee meeting to order. One item this evening, we're looking for a resolution from council to take up the bricks on the section of Sycamore Street that is still brick before we add it to our paving levy next spring. The engineer would like council support because sometimes this can be problematic with some of the residents. So we just want to get support from all council members if they're on board with this before we move forward with it. If anybody's been down that section, we know we don't have to set any police speed traps down there because you can't go more than 5 miles per hour. It's a very rough road, and we all know the cost of redoing brick roads at this point from what we've done with Freedom Street. So this is just, again, looking for support from council in a resolution form to go ahead and remove those bricks when we put this project into the paving program next spring.
I'm totally behind it because there's a multitude of other reasons they need to be removed. I wouldn't even go into the list right now.
I'm in support of removing them.
So for that, we can go ahead and move this item forward, and then if there's any objections, we can talk about them at committee of the whole. So we'll go ahead and move that item forward. And then if we could, just quick management update. I don't know if we made any progress with the power line poles on West Main with getting the rest of those utilities moved?
No. No.
Okay.
I've reached out to the 3 Pacific Utilities companies, and they claim they're putting it into their system to work on it.
So
I
we
have
still
no
have,
enforcement, can't do much more. Kind of wait.
keep our fingers crossed on that. Okay.
I have something that was brought to my attention, it was actually by several residents. about, I'll just say, different types of rodents, whether they die in the edge of the street or killed, and the way of actually removing them off of the streets. I know some municipalities do that, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, we've been made aware of a couple instances where this has happened recently. We're looking at, the problem seems to be where to dispose these carcasses, so we're looking
Yes.
into that. Ohio EPA has regulations on where those carcasses can go and can't go, so right now it's kind of in the investigative stage, and we're trying to work through that, so, yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Mayor Seaman, do you have any management update?
Just that I did meet with a citizen this morning who has concerns about the leaf pickup. And we had a very good conversation, and I'm going to look into getting that so that we have a calendar as best we can for not this year, but next.
Great.
Yeah, I'd seen the leaf machine was out today for a while.
I think that would be helpful for the residents.
Yes.
7:07, I will adjourn Streets and Sidewalks Committee.
Okay, at 7:07, I'll start the Utility Committee. The first thing on the agenda is a roof for the wastewater treatment plant. This is due, Mr. Brugant never requests anything in, years before it's really needed. And I know there are several things that'll be coming up later in that department. So this is something that's well needed, and hopefully it can get started before we have any, I'll just say, extremely cold weather. And he has a price here of $27,600. And I know there aren't a lot of companies that do these types of roofs. So once this is finished, it'll last for many, many years. So are there any comments from Tyler or Cheryl?
No.
Okay,
I'm
great.
good to move forward with this.
Great. And the next one is the water line project, transferring the funds from the new water tower.
Paul, I'll speak on this.
Pardon?
I will speak on this
Okay.
particular
go ahead.
item. We did not perform a large item for the water tank. And during the construction of our current water line projects, it was determined that the section of water line from the railroad tracks to Lake Avenue, along what we refer to as the Freedom Street water line, is in bad shape. So we're asking to redistribute money that would have gone to the water tank to the water line project. So decrease the water tank fund and move it to the water line fund.
Gotcha.
Nothing new, not additional money.
I'm okay with moving that forward.
Same.
And this is a necessity, and this is a water line that's really not seen. So CSS tracks between Freedom and, well, Lake Street back through it's kind of a wooded area. Reason I know where it is, I can picture it, I've seen it years ago, but it's one of those necessity things. Okay, and the last thing on the agenda is a contract with, I want to make sure I pronounce his company properly. I believe it's Fior Ito Construction. They'll be doing a variety of different water projects, and hopefully they can get started this fall. And instead of waiting till spring, they'll be doing different things in phases. One of the big ones will be on Jones Avenue, that's right. And that will help to drastically decrease a lot of the flooding problems that have been going on Jones and Williams. They'll be increasing the water lines through there, adding some stormwater basins. Well, that should make a big difference.
I'm okay with moving this forward as well.
Okay, Tyler, okay, great.
Can we get confirmation about the overall cost? And it looks to me, if I remember, some money has been allocated, but that you need to allocate more. Is that correct? I'm just going from my memory of Dominic's email.
I think we had the money appropriated.
There is some additional appropriations, and I noticed there's not an amount written here. I have to go back to the detail. I don't know what that is without looking. Rob?
The base bid was considerably less than Dominic's bid, but he had money,
Yeah,
thought he had
the-
money appropriated for the alternate, and he wants to accept the alternate also.
Yeah, we're actually saving money because the bid came in quite a bit lower. But some of the costs that were paid out of the storm improvements line this year for some other projects were a little bit more than what was anticipated. So we do need a little bit more in appropriations. I'll get an exhibit together to include with this ordinance, so we know what that is.
I know in his email he put the amount, but when I'm looking at the certificate in what the big document he sent, it doesn't have a dollar figure. That line is blank. So I was just, can we make sure we have that number
Yeah,
for
we will.
council?
Absolutely.
And confirm whether
Yeah.
we need to
Yes,
allocate
we
more
will.
money?
Yes, but that bid did come in a lot
Quite a bit
lower
lower, yes.
than what we anticipated. So overall, we are saving money on the projects that Dominic had planned.
I could tell you what those are if you give me a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, give me 1 second.
And Bob, I don't remember, there were some storm things that happened this year that caused us to buy some more materials. I know that, and I just don't remember, there's a lot that's
Okay,
gone on.
the email says total project cost is $93,994.80.
That is correct. Yeah, the engineer's estimate for the alternate, base bid and alternate was $142,245.
Yeah, and he's looking for a little over $8,000 appropriated for that. Okay, thank you. I had the information. I should have just looked it up.
As Tammy stated, we're given our budget for storm projects for the whole year. So to finish this off, he needed $8,000.
Sounds reasonable.
That's great. Also, as with paving, levy, as with all of these, they continue to regenerate every day. Somebody pays income tax or property tax or utility bills, that sort of thing. We don't look at it that way. We look at it as January 1, this is our budget from what we've gained, accumulated from the previous year. So the money's there. It just has to be moved out of that account.
Just move from one to another. Okay, at this time I'll ask if there is a management update.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. At
I'll
this
just
time,
quickly add that the water tank is in the air. Painters showed up. They're starting to prep to paint.
What are we putting on it? What's
Ravenna.
it gonna say?
Bob, it's great. You asked.
I'm so excited. I've been watching. I go up there, drive up and look and see like what they're doing. It's really neat to watch them build that.
okay, I'll call an end to the utility committee at 7:17.
It's cool, isn't it? It's my turn. It's 7:15 PM. I'll call the planning committee meeting to order. Before we actually move on to discussion items, I just wanted to take a moment to talk with Tim and Amy on my committee. I know that sometimes planning is the place where everything just goes because there's no other place for it. And so I'm just asking, as far as to prepare for upcoming months, if you have a moment to kind of think back to some of our planning committees, if there's been some topics that we've brought up for discussion that haven't resolved themselves. I know a couple of things like the nuisance lighting, the short-term rentals, public comment during meetings, those are all things that are on my agenda. If I'm missing something, please let me know. I want to make sure that we're, using the planning committee at the best we can, and I want to make sure that things don't get missed. So if you guys have some ideas of things that we might have missed throughout the time, because more important things like, buying farms and parks and all of these things are happening, please let me know. Okay? So the first item on my agenda is a grant award for the Ravenna United Fund. And this is an ordinance for the mayor to apply for and approve the receipt of the funding if it's awarded for the flooring at Safety Town. So we're asking them to pay half the cost to replace that. So obviously, this is an ask. We're not sure if this will happen, but just to see if this is okay to move forward.
Yeah, I'm good with that because
We
there's.
got it?
Yeah, he's actually already been awarded the grant.
Yeah,
I'm reading the letter
So,
now. Okay,
yeah.
great. So we're going to take the money
Yeah.
and run.
yeah,
Pull a Ryland.
yeah, they do a good job in coming through with funding
Awesome.
for them.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the check in here.
Just recently, I was able to meet with Chris, our new director out there. He's got lots of ideas for
He's a bright guy.
increasing participation. This project with Safety Town is one that he's looking for a number of different ways to increase the number of kids that go through it. So I'm excited that he's working on it already. He's off to a good start.
Okay.
I second that. I got to go meet him too, and I introduced myself, and I encourage anybody who hasn't had a chance to go meet with him to go meet with him, because very nice guy, and like Dr. Calfee said, very energetic, and I think he brings a lot to our program.
All right. Next on the agenda is a resolution for support of for Osborne Park. Bob, do you want to speak on this? This is yours.
Yeah, the resolution is authorizing the mayor to negotiate with Norfolk Southern to purchase the land on Main Street that abuts Osborne Park that the city owns.
And can you explain, because so many people just think, we're out buying parks, like it gets put out there like we're just like the park capital city of the world, that there is reason behind a lot of this that people just don't understand. The benefit, I feel, sorry, Christina.
No, you're fine. You're good.
For this with Osborne Park, can you explain at least the benefit so that it gets put out there, the benefit of why we want this? And that the Osborne Park was donated to the city.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That's,
We've been working on this park since I believe 2014.
Yeah.
From the donation to the 2 grants to clean it up. In addition, we traded land with Garrow Tire so we could have access to Sycamore Street. Over the years, I've communicated with Norfolk Southern, and they haven't been very cordial. As you know, Norfolk Southern approached the city a week or 2 ago and asked to purchase land from us, so this happens to be a great time to negotiate. However, it's my understanding the mayor needs permission to throw price tags and dollar figures out. We're looking, there's no reason it should be anywhere above $75,000 or something like that. We're not talking $1 million. But City Council did approve a preliminary plan. We hired a consulting firm to do that last year. I don't know that you guys, if it's ever even been presented to you guys, but there was an amphitheater and a walking park and those typical things. The parking lot was included, an area for food trucks, basically outdoor entertainment.
and for those of you who remember, who've been in Ravenna a long, long time, that area was very bad, in bad condition. It proposed a huge hazard it had a lot of crime. And so, again, this is another way of us cleaning up the area. And it's not that we're trying to develop, all of these parks, but we are trying to make our area more economic friendly. And again, it was donated to us, and in return, it's cleaned up that entire area. So, go ahead.
I think another important part to point out with the Norfolk Southern is that the strip of property that they own that we are discussing is a small strip that runs through the middle of the Osborne Park area. So it is separating the park. This is a way to make it a single parcel area and complete it as a park. Otherwise, it will continue to sit as it is.
Right.
And not be as useful for anybody. The other question or confirmation that I wanted to verify is that we talked about the trade up. Are we trying, is that the negotiation that we're talking about, is doing an equal trade up, equal value for value? We purchase for one price, they purchase for the same price type of thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Just
That's
wanted to
the
make sure.
intent, but I want to be ready in case they don't agree with that.
Well, then we don't agree.
And
Tell
this-
them what they need.
Well, we could do that too. And a couple other things. It is not my intent to run out and develop this park or attempt to develop this park immediately. But it's more important that we have this land that we're mowing and maintaining anyway.
Right.
At one point, when Norfolk Southern cleaned their portion up, they put barricades up. Mayor at the time, we removed those barricades. So the property does look the way it is because we've been mowing it, maintaining it. One of the large components of a future park is a parking lot, which would be a public parking lot and the public would have access. And how many times do we hear there's no parking in this town? So
Right. And also, doesn't it will connect for the hike and bike trail as an entrance into the downtown as well?
it absolutely can.
Absolutely. That was one of the
can't-
things back when, this was even discussed, that it would open up that area so people could ride and connect from the bike trail into downtown.
I can't apply for grants unless we own the property.
Correct.
That's the other. It could be a very expensive
These are just
park.
the little things that don't get put out there, and right now, it's important that we have those little things that get put out there right away.
And
So,
if it
thank
takes-
you.
If it takes 10 years to develop it, it takes 10 years, but at least we would have the property.
Bob, I have a quick question. Are we mowing and maintaining the Norfolk Southern
Yes,
land?
yes, and part of McDonald's property.
It's interesting. How long have we been doing that?
I'm going to say 2016, probably,
Oh.
15 or 16.
There was a recent Ohio Supreme Court case involving, I think it was the same, there was another property owner who was maintaining their land and just took it. 20 years. I forget, yeah, I know. Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I asked when we started doing it. It
It's
takes 20
21,
years.
but the
What's it called,
railroad-
adverse something or other?
Adverse possession, but it does
Yeah.
not apply to railroads.
Well, in this case, it did. It was a
Did it really?
railroad.
Okay.
I don't know how the Supreme Court, I don't know if they've ruled yet. Anyway, I think this is yeah, we can certainly.
Should we calculate a rough estimate of what it's cost to mow it for the last 9 years and take that with us into negotiations?
I think I had put some numbers together, and we were somewhere between $16,000 and $18,000.
Really, that much? It's good to know.
And there
I
are
think-
numbers, we can cook them the way we want.
Let's say that now.
Now, was that just our mowing operation cost, or was that if they were being penalized for not mowing their own things and having those
there you
fees
go.
associated? Because that can be a real situation for property owners within city limits, you know?
Are we able to negotiate an ATV in this deal with them?
I mean, they do have a grant that,
Tried to go through the grant process several times. It's not just for that land. But I brought up on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
We've had multiple issues with railroad tracks that are some Norfolk Southern that we can't access. And it's a benefit to them as it is to us.
And if they have the grant, you might throw that in there about an ATV. The worst they can do is say no, but if we don't ask, that would be great.
and Chief Chappell, I do believe I was looking at that online. I think the grant wasn't just 30, but I think it was up to $60,000, if I remember correctly. So hopefully that would potentially cover that full cost, because I know you were concerned about that too.
All right.
There you
That's
go.
a lot of
Sorry.
conversation. So you guys are okay with moving that forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The next item I have, I don't believe is listed on the agenda. This is from Tammy. The final appropriations for the purchase of
Yes.
Sunbow.
Yes, we closed on October 3rd, and I want to
It's not on my.
allocate so I can do my final expense for the payment for the property. So we had originally done the ordinance for the general fund and the park CI. We have a commitment from the RLF funds for anything above what we wanted to pay out of the cap, or the park CI fund. So that was, the original was the general fund at 412,500. Then the park CI, we committed 662,500. We would like to take 52,461.05 out of Fund 215. And that has been talked to with Mike Bogo at NDS. So I'm just looking for authorization to appropriate accordingly.
Absolutely. I'm okay with it.
Does anybody have questions on that? We're okay with moving that forward?
And Tammy, by the way, thank you for, I don't know if any of you realize, because I've been buzzing in and out of here a lot lately. She has spent hours and hours of time committed to this. So I just want to say thank you for you and your department and how this was just thrown at you basically, and on top of everything else she's been doing, Tammy has went above and beyond. So I just want to say thank you to the finance department on
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, then, speaking of other things she's been working on, that's the next item on my.
Yes.
Which I haven't been working on, but.
Which she's been working, they've really been working hard on the safety buildings and the city hall. We need to move this forward if we're ready to move this forward for that income tax levy to be on the ballot. So this is something that we need to have from council. We've had a committee that's been meeting and kind of organizing and discussing this. I do want to say, that both the fire department and the police department did a great job. City council, our council clerk Tammy as well, with tours during the Balloon Affair, kind of sharing information with the community. I know we talked about this last week when we talked about, what the fire department did. It was awesome. It was really neat to see residents so engaged and wanting to learn about our facilities and our buildings and the services that were provided. And it was just a nice educational experience. So that came out of the committee that had been meeting. It became a separate committee to kind of coordinate, and we're going to continue to support the community, educate the community on those things. We have 3 marketing companies that are interested in possibly supporting and marketing for the levy. We need to do RFQs for that. So these are just things that we need council support in order to move forward with this. Rob, Tammy, do you guys have anything to add?
Who wants to start?
Go ahead.
We do have 3 companies. Bob had sent out requests for qualifications. So we do have 3 companies that have responded back. A 4th that would like to talk to us. They didn't submit a formal request for qualifications. So Bob and I haven't had a chance to sit down and look at that. So we need to do that after Bob and I do that. And Bob, you can speak to this as well. We may invite them back and then have a few members kind of listen along with us. Is that what you're thinking as well,
Yeah,
Barb, with the marketing part?
We'll narrow it down, and then at one of our meetings, have each one possibly through a Zoom meeting or something, discuss with the group, maybe for 20 minutes each or something like that, how they've been successful with other communities.
Right.
In a similar situation.
And they all seem to have some different things that they could offer us, so. And then it's going to be a matter of how much we do want to spend, because they gave us some idea of what it would cost, but it all depends on what parts of what they offer we want to use. So, so that has to be determined, with administration and council, what we are comfortable spending on something like that. The next piece is
Well,
deciding.
before you go to the next piece, we do need to be careful what we're hiring if we decide to hire a consultant, what they're going to be doing. Because of the bill that just went into effect at the end of September, House Bill, I think 96,
Yes.
we can't hire a consultant to advocate for our levy. Just like schools haven't been able to do that in the past, this new bill prohibits municipal corporations from doing it as well. So we need, if we decide to go forward, we need to hire somebody to educate the public
Yeah,
about.
we did put in the qualifications that
Right.
they need to.
I just want to make sure people
yeah.
understand the language we use when we talk about this.
Yes.
We don't want to give the false impression that we're doing something in violation of state law.
Yes, we do have to be very careful. There's a lot of auditor of state recommendations on how we proceed with those kind of things,
And-
so, and I'll
and then
share those.
The other thing is, assuming council approves, the subcommittee targeted the May election, and then if it fails May, the November election. So that may color how we craft an agreement with a consultant. You know, which election, do we not use them for the beginning and then only use them later, or do we use them for the May and then decide after May whether we keep hiring them? It becomes a moving target financially, because we're kind of proposing up to 2 elections. So just to keep that in mind. But go ahead, make your next point.
Yeah.
I have
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
a question for that. I was wondering if the committee, whoever it's involved, has considered, when I say sending something out to the residents, as an example in the water bill, since that's not a lot of cost right there, to encourage others to, if they have questions or concerns, or if they want to see things firsthand pertaining to these 2 buildings being redone.
So I will say that, there has been a subcommittee that is working on some educational things like at events. However, it's my understanding that the committee wants to leave that up to the marketing firm as far as what information shared with residents, because we really want to make sure that we're consistent, we're transparent, we're sending the same message, and that it's, a legal message, obviously. We're not doing something wrong. So I think that's the importance of hiring that marketing firm, so that we're messaging correctly. Is that?
True,
Yeah.
yes.
Sounds good.
Now, the next piece is deciding if we are comfortable going forward with the income tax levy on the May ballot. To do that, we do need to do a resolution of necessity, I believe, is the first resolution that needs to be passed. And if that is something that we want to go through with, I think that it needs to be done. I think financially, that is the best way for us to cover the debt service that'll come along with building the building. And what will come in with that 0.25% increase will hand in hand with our current status as a city, cover that debt service.
And keep our bond rating
And
stable.
keep our bond ratings where we're at, so that we have a lot of other big projects, you all know, coming up. And we will need to borrow for some of those, so we need our bond rating to stay well to be able to borrow.
And I think, again, I know we said this for the last item, thank you, Tammy, for all the hard work. I mean, you really have done a lot, gone the extra mile as far as looking at different ways to do this and to research this. So your hard work does not go unnoticed.
If you're talking about the May ballot, Ms. Lawrence, isn't there like a 75-day prior to the election that we have to pass that, or is it even more? Is it 90 days?
There's 2 different things we have to do. The first, we have to file by the beginning of February, February 6th.
Beginning of
I
February.
believe, is
Okay.
the deadline.
Second week of February.
Yes, yes.
The other question is, as we're talking about this, I just wanted to be clear, we're talking about a safety building and City Hall together is what we're proposing to go forward with?
That was another component of our last meeting on September 9th when the Safety Building Committee met. Sean Thompson came and presented some plans to include City Hall in those buildings. I'll let Bob speak a little more to that and what the cost would be with
Yeah, it appears it would add $5 million to the cost. It's hard to argue if we don't do it now, we will never do it, not in our lifetime. So that's a tough decision, but it's as we discussed in the past, parks, engineering, utility billing would predominantly stay where we're at in the short term. Again, since we don't have a final design, a final design is when we hire a contractor and they start submitting plans, then we'll have a final design. But utility billing still could be incorporated. That I had asked the architect to just put a concept together, a floor plan for City Hall and how it could fit on the plan, on that site. The site is actually pretty narrow to do what we're trying to do. However, it will work. It'll work. And if we position it, we could leave space along Main Street to perhaps someday build a City Hall that we would all want, expecting if that happens, then the police and fire have grown to take over the space that City Hall could be in.
And then this area here would become a value possibly to the county, or we could sell and offset maybe some of our cost, because I know they're running out of room next door. So it could be a win if this whole area was vacated financially.
And the architect did meet with Jake a couple weeks ago and emailed me today, and Jake and I are going to sit down with him and see the new renderings of what Jake is looking for. And as Jake said earlier, storage is a big component.
So is a 0.25% adequate, whether City Hall is included or not, considering approximate 5 million difference?
Yes, I believe it still is going to be sufficient for what we need to cover the debt service.
Were we not also looking to cover part of the debt service through the capital budget? I mean, capital improvement budget?
It's possible. We talked about that even when these discussions were had a year or 2 years ago. Yes, we talked about paying for City Hall out of that, and that is possible. We do have a reserve that we are saving for out of there that can supplement those costs. Again, because we're talking about estimates, I'm hoping we don't know what final costs are going to look like when we get to
Yes.
that point. So that's my hope.
So the term of the loan, whatever it is, I never heard what the exact years is, but would it,
About 28 years is about what it'll be, 28
Okay.
to 30 years, yeah.
and the reason I was asking that is, would it be considered or not to, if there's an abundance of cash some years, to add to that to decrease the time limit, or take it out to the full extent no matter what?
Oh, certainly. There's always ways you could pay down the debt, yes. Yep. Or extend it, yeah, there's other ways you could finance something if you had to. Down the line, there's always different ways you could,
Right?
It's not
I
like
didn't-
we're gonna
I
have
didn't
any
know if that
other-
was-
yeah,
It's not like
No.
we'd have any other projects to fund.
yeah, yeah.
So at
I'm
this
being
point,
facetious. Well, yeah, I was going to say that really, at this point, we're talking about just the committee, whether they're comfortable moving forward.
with the resolution of
With-
necessity.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure what all that entails.
I believe I have
Well-
written down the timeline from the
Yeah.
election board of what we need to
Yeah,
do. so
but that's
we can
after
get-
the election, I think. But we'll see what we did for the last levy.
Yeah.
And then I think that was that streets, or, I don't know if that was a safety or the streets, I forget which
Did
came
both.
first.
Yeah.
Well,
One was the safety, one was the road.
right. We'll look and see what the process is there, but conceptually, is the committee okay with an income tax, 0.25%, moving forward with investigating consulting firms, including city, I'm sorry?
Including
And
City
including
Hall.
City Hall.
And that's what I was, yeah. And to me, to be honest with you, the City Hall piece is, maybe more debatable than the others, because, we have to wonder if is that a bridge too far? Are we going too far? Is that more than residents are willing to
I don't
fund?
know if we're able to sell this area and then offset the price of, to make this area valuable. And if we would sell this whole block, there's some pretty good value to that. I don't know. It may not, it may be worth it to consider.
Well, I'm just asking the committee if
I
they're,
think at this point with the Band-Aids that you're paying for on
Like
the City Hall building.
Roof repairs and all that.
And only more to come. It's an issue, consistently.
Right.
I think it is only feasible to give a serious consideration.
Right.
Because it does not cost all that much more to add the square footage to the safety buildings to have City Hall
Well-
there. As well as, again, it would never happen
Exactly.
if you don't do it now.
well, I'm not proposing an argument either way. I'm just suggesting that at this point in time, the committee needs to decide.
What do you wanna do?
Whether they
So-
want the entire package or portions of it to be moved on to the committee of the whole, and then the committee of the whole can flesh out the complete picture of what's being recommended from the subcommittee.
So my ask to the subcommittee, which is Tim and Amy, for us to move forward with the possible resolution of necessity, the income tax levy, and including City Hall in the construction of the safety building.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll move that on. The next item on my agenda is the comprehensive plan. Rob, I'll let you handle this one.
Okay, so it's been almost 2 years. We started this, I think, in December of 2024, or 2023. This is the comprehensive plan that the steering committee has proposed, that the Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended, and I don't believe council has been given a copy yet. I did contact Todd Peets, and he's working on getting everyone their own binder, and we'll have an electronic version for people to see on our website eventually. So at this point, we want to bring forward what we've completed and ask council to do its, homework, investigate what he thinks of the comprehensive plan. I mean, there's still always time to change it if you have some significant concerns about what's written in here. My only suggestion is the bulk of this, because I know this discussion took place at the Planning and Zoning Commission, the bulk of the document seems to be like the first several chapters, which is really sort of an investigation of our current status and the history behind zoning and various aspects of what becomes the plan in the final chapter. So if you really want to think about what the plan is, then really that's the end part. I'm just making it as a suggestion not to get too consumed with the early part of maybe, go over it, see if there's any mistakes, or certain things they have questions about. But the plan itself is really towards the back of the document. And that's where we're going to focus on, strategically planning for the future. It's also not a blueprint of zoning. We're going to have some suggested usage, future use plan. And as Ms. Woods always says, if there's an atomic bomb.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what it was sold as.
No,
A comprehensive plan is the legal
Right.
basis for your future land use and then your
Well,
zoning
okay.
updates and reviews.
I'll rephrase because there was concern by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's not going to give you the information on how to resolve every single zoning issue. It's okay, it's a
providing a
blueprint, but it's fun. And if you see what Alex, who's on, in the regional planning department, has done with some of this thing, it's really interesting. And I think visually it makes, like, you can scroll from what our current use is and just overlay and I think that's the visual I would like to present as what's being presented here. And certainly, Ms. Wood, you can contribute, because she's been there the whole time as well, and was an important person to get this whole thing started, so we thank you for that.
Absolutely. The comprehensive plan is a current statistics, current evaluation of cities' assets, parks, buildings, infrastructure. It's an in-depth view of where we currently sit, and that is the beginning of the comprehensive plan, is our current status on everything. The plan builds throughout to create the future land use plan. The future land use plan is what is used to be the basis of future zoning. And again, this is something going through the comprehensive plan process, is if the city were to be gone as we know it today, how do you envision the city to look as a rebuild? And that's the important part of the comprehensive plan. It's taking away the vision of, well, we've always done it that way. It's always been this, or it's always been that. Well, what if something happened and it no longer was? How would you rebuild that? And again, zoning. Instead of doing spot zoning, which happens in a lot of areas because you're being reactive to things that are going on, how do you plan that zoning to be more conducive to the layout of the city? And this is the basis so that we can hopefully, in the near future, completely revamp our zoning and update not only the zoning map, but the code as well.
And I guess the big thing too is to see what's working and what's not working. Where have we found, possibly through our building maintenance department, where have we found like our biggest issues, maybe our biggest problems because of zoning? Or how could we make neighborhoods better because of zoning? Or how can we make business districts better? You know, these type of things are kind of what really sparks my interest, you know. What have we learned through these years? And, you know, because of the data we have, is there a way to change some of this to make it better?
So do we know when we'll be able to obtain copies?
Should be
For the
this
rest of
week.
us?
Yeah.
That's what I was told. Now, as far as process, I would personally, and it's really kind of up to the committee and certainly the committee of the whole and eventually council when it comes on the agenda, my preference would be to keep, run through the full 3 readings. I mean, we've taken enough time already. It's not like we have to rush into this. Take the full 3 readings so that council has time to digest, because it's a pretty big document.
Yeah.
And there's a lot in there. And then also plan a public hearing so that the public, once we have it up and available for them to read, to schedule a time when they can come here and give us their thoughts.
How's the committee feel about that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I just have the concern of, if we don't even have a copy of it yet, should it be going to committee of the whole next
No.
week if?
Well, it's up to the committee.
up to the
We can wait
committee.
another month if you want.
I mean, if they could make it to paper, they clearly sent it to a publisher so it could get printed or a copy, or they could have sent us that PDF in an email some time ago. I don't understand why they've been waiting this long.
Well, I did, I'm
I
trying to
don't know. I think
remember
it's too
when
big
I
of a
sent this
document,
out, but
and that's
I did ask.
That's it.
Todd
No,
about it.
I agree with you.
That's my only thought.
I think you're right,
Because
too.
if we go to committee of whole next week, then we got to act on it. What are we going to do with?
You're right.
Right.
Well,
I would hold off till
So is
next
this
month.
something that we can just keep on the agenda, and
You
make sure
could-
it's on the agenda
we
for
could-
next month, and then make sure it gets moved
yeah,
forward?
there's no time limit
Yeah.
here. And
Okay.
it's a fair
Yeah.
observation.
I think that's what the committee wants to
Yeah.
do then. We'll keep it on.
Okay.
And let's get a copy of it, yeah.
I think that's, do we have a management update, Mayor?
I do not.
All right. Then I will end my meeting at 7:49 PM.
Okay.